the Kestrel ballistics shot timer. So this is a brief review of this new shot timer, and I really like it. After having tried out the closest competition, which I would consider at this point the Shooters Global, this is the one for me. So for years, my go-to timer was the Pack 3. Love it, but I got to a point where I wanted to upgrade, and I was willing to invest in what I considered to be a better shot timer, one that had more features and that I felt I could make a commitment to for years to come. So I started out with the Shooters Global Go, which is their mini version, which is also their less expensive version, has less features, but I thought I could get away with, working with the timer and the associated app to make it work for me. Tried it, didn't care for it. Talked to some folks, was encouraged to get the Shooters Global, the original one, bigger one, had a bigger display on the front. So I went with that one, and I tried that one too, didn't care for it. Two big things that I didn't care for were, number one, the volume of the buzzer. Too soft, too quiet for my liking. The other thing I didn't care for was how it attached to its base pad. Its belt clip was a magnetic attachment that attached to your belt separately from the timer, so you could clip the timer on, get the timer near to the base pad, and it would just click on. However, within a short while, I realized that it was falling off too much, again, for my liking. So that and some other things about it, I was like, well, you know what? I want to be really happy with the timer that I have. I don't want to feel like, oh, this is kind of like I'm willing to make do. And so I returned that one. Bought them through Amazon. Returns were a breeze. And I bought this one. This one is awesome. This one I'm really happy with. It's very intuitive, very easy to use at the range. One critique I have of this one is that it's not very integrated yet with the iPhone or whatever smartphone you have and the associated app that you can get for the smartphone. I anticipate that this will be changing. I've spoken with the folks at Kestrel, and they have hinted, without saying anything specific, that this will be changing, and that's why they have the Bluetooth connectivity, and that's why they have an app. They just need to update the app and update the firmware. I don't have an estimated time that this will happen, but even without that, I'm very happy with this, happier than I have been with any other timer that I've worked with thus far. And I've worked with several, including the Range Tech, Commander, and Packed Shooters Global. This one is not only intuitive, it's very easy to use. So, and although I haven't used it with gloves on yet, the buttons are big and well spaced apart, so I think that even with gloves on, it will be easy enough to use. It's super loud, to the point that they have a warning about protecting your ears when using it at maximum volume. And I can attest, you will need to protect your ears when using it at maximum volume. It is very loud. And it has 3 different volume settings so that you can work with it on the range, on a busy range with a lot of people, a long line, a medium level for just yourself on the range, or for yourself and a couple of friends casually working drills and checking standards, and a low level for when you're at home doing dry fire and you don't want to disturb the family. It has a display on top, display on bottom, and I don't know if you'll see this, but it has a backlight feature, which I don't know if it's showing up on the camera there, but it lets you, like, I don't even see it in this kind of light, but in a darker situation, or like in an indoor range that's not as well lit, not as bright as it is on a overcast but bright day here in northern Arizona. You can navigate around with these arrows, so whatever screen you're on, These are your navigation arrows, and the center one is the equivalent of select. Your power button, press quickly to turn on, press and hold to turn off. Settings is really like where you see all of the innards of the timer, in terms of like, okay, you press settings and then you see the names of your drills, the sensitivity, start delays, par times, buzzer volumes, etc. And then you've also got this this button here, which will bring up your times, either your times or your splits. You can check your strings by the amount of time or by the splits. So either setting, whether you have it on time or on splits, will show you your overall time, but one will show you, like, let's say your first shot broke at 1.5, then if you've got it on time versus splits, it will say something like 1.5, 2.03, 2.53, 3.03, 3.62, so on and so forth. Versus splits, which is how I have it set up, will show draw to first shot, which was in this case my most recent one, 1.94, split of 0.50, 0.53, 0.53, 0.49, 0.52, and 0.55. That was shooting a playing card at 7 yards, and I averaged about half-second splits on that. So anyway, then you can see how it'll give you different strings. It'll give you like rows of strings. So my most recent string, and then I can scroll, if I hadn't, I can scroll this way and see other strings. So there's definitely more to it. Just a brief review. I'm very happy with it. It's super rugged. I feel like I could really abuse this timer. It's waterproof, IP67, I believe. And the belt clip is super sturdy, really good build, as you would expect from Kestrel. I used to use Kestrel products way back in the day when I lived on a sailboat. Their wind meter was something that I had on board and really appreciated. So here I am again in the desert, now not on the ocean, and I'm working with Kestrel again. I'm very happy with it. I could highly recommend it. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask, leave a comment. Happy to chat.